grâce aux sapeurs-pompiers, les victimes. C'est pourquoi cette cérémonie,
this ceremony, he says, is first of all for gratitude and remembrance.
Elle s'adresse en premier lieu aux policiers tombés les
We remember the police who died on the 7th and the 8th of January last year.
Brigadier Clarissa Jean-Philippe,
Brigadier Clarissa Jean-Philippe
à Montrouge à l'âge de 26 ans.
died at 26 years old in Montrouge. Lieutenant Franck Brinsolaro, killed, assassinated at 48 years old. He tried to protect the Charlie Hebdo team. Lieutenant Ahmed Merabet, killed at 40 years old as he was trying to stop the terrorists from fleeing. 3 police officers who represented the diversity of the origins of jobs, of missions, of the security forces of our country. I affirm it once more here, we will never forget them. They died so that we can live free. But today, I want to express recognition of the nation, those who, as we saw in January and in November, who take the risks to stop those who try to kill indiscriminately. The gendarmes of the GIGN who stopped the Kouachi brothers at the 9th of January last year, the police of the raid and other specialist forces who intervened to stop the 40 hostages being taken hostage at the Jewish supermarket, and again in November led the assault in Saint-Denis to stop other attacks being carried out. I'm thinking of the police who confronted the danger at the Bataclan in Paris, armed only with a simple firearm, before being joined by specialist units who succeeded in freeing the 12 hostages and in neutralizing the last terrorists who held them. I want to evoke the fire officers, the emergency services, and others who saved lives and brought to the survivors who were traumatized the support and the help that they needed. But beyond these courageous acts, in these tragic circumstances, I would like to salute, pay tribute to the police and the military who each day, each night, patrol in our streets, who safeguard the security of our public buildings, schools, airports. An admirable work, passionate, obstinate, absolutely vital work, like the intelligence services, who warn us about potential attacks, the judicial police, who intervene to arrest suspects and put them under the control of judges, and all those who struggle against organized crime. Ladies and gentlemen, you who represent these people in this courtyard, I express my confidence. You have that of the French people because you protect them, and they will bear witness in the cortege on the 11th of January and in all French cities. You have the sympathy of these people. Ladies and gentlemen, you protect French people. You protect their way of life, their freedom. This way of life, that's what the terrorists wanted to attack, because joy and sharing and culture inspires hatred in them. Never, since the last few decades, has so much responsibility been necessary more demanding, because the terrorists haven't finished weighing on our country a real dreadful threat. Abroad, our armed forces are struggling to fight Daesh, and we have brought results. The terrorists are in retreat. At home, we are facing up to trace the terrorists. We're attacking their finances. We're breaking down their networks. To face up to this threat, you need resources, the necessary resources. The law on military programming of our defense, I have wanted since 2012 with the government to bring resources which are vital for you. Each year, 500 supplementary posts in the police and 2,000 new jobs in intelligence. And the seriousness of the threat demands that we need to bring to an even higher level our engagement. And despite of the budgetary constraints that we all know, I have announced before Parliament 5,000 supplementary jobs from now till 2017. Altogether, 9,000 jobs have been created in the police and the gendarmerie in 5 years, which had been cut earlier. There's more effort needed. I want also to bring you not just your demands, but what is absolutely needed: magistrates, penal officers and customs officers, and also an effort, unprecedented effort for the team for the Ministry of the Interior to equip your forces, and the Interior Minister talks about 4,000 new vehicles, renovating and modernizing buildings and communications. I know also the areas around France for the municipal police, to equip the police with arms from the stock of the national police. Since 2012, because we were already conscious of the threat, 3 laws have been passed to reinforce the resources in the anti-terrorist struggle and intelligence, and that has helped extremely difficult and obscure work of the civil servants in the scrupulous respect of law, the rule of law, because that's our guarantee for everyone. For the last year, 200 bans on leaving the territory have been imposed on those suspected of wanting to join the extremists in Syria and Iraq. 500 foreigners have been banned from entry, but we also need to pass new measures after these acts of war on the 13th of November. So I have passed exceptional measures, or put forward exceptional measures, to install the state of emergency, which has been extended until March by Parliament. This has enabled us to carry out raids, administrative raids, which uncovered 25 infractions which had direct links to terrorism, arms, including 40 linked to war, and we haven't completely exploited those which we've managed to seize, but we will break down these networks. Emergency measures in a democracy which wants to defend itself and to defend freedoms. The state of emergency is not designed to last. It will obey strict conditions, and its judicial origins go back to an old law which dates to 1955, which couldn't have foreseen these acts. facing the situation today. That's because I suggested the state of emergency to bring these new measures and define the reasons which could justify its put into practice, because our freedoms should be guaranteed. The struggle against those who wanted to attack our freedoms will not be justified. France would lose, must not negate its values to come out of the state of emergency without weakening ourselves. So the government wants new legislative measures to be put to Parliament. A bill to strengthen the struggle against organized crime and reforming the penal procedure has been drawn up by the relevant judicial authorities, the Interior Ministry and the Finance Ministry. This text responds to the challenges. I think of several questions that we need to address. The return from Syria and Iraq of young radicalized people in our country. Today, most of these individuals who come back to the country are immediately put under the control of the judiciary. But that's not the case of everyone. So we need to be able to contain that, and only that, impose certain conditions, and so, if unnecessary, house arrest, because they are by definition dangerous, and they need to be followed with vigilance. In the same way, we need to control more individuals who are already on our watch lists, and we need the time to verify their situation and to decide, to take appropriate decisions, obviously under the control of judges. The government also considers it necessary to foresee the need to control and check vehicles near the most vulnerable sites. Remember what has happened, industrial sites, all that, and only in the face of a terrorist threat and for a short term. These measures will be put under the control of the judge because it's a guarantee for the regularity, for the legitimacy of these acts, which are obviously limited in the time and limited to the struggle against terrorism. I know also what arms trafficking represents, and so we need to act. We need to act so that those who take arms like that are followed up, so that the weapons cannot be used for organized crime, and also eventually for terrorism. So the manner, the surveying financial methods is necessary, and it's also vital to tackle the sources of the terrorists' finances, because they exploit our weaknesses of the financial system to gather more resources and put them to the service of their cowardly and odious acts of war. The penal procedure will be simplified so that the police judicial services under the authority of the magistrates can tackle inquiries, and that's what the French people want the services to do. The investigation capacities of the prosecutors will be increased to foresee to warn of acts against life. The bill will tackle this in line with European rules. It's what everyone wants. Finally, the conditions of employment of arms engagement by the police will be made more precise so that they can act in the case of threats against murder, threats of murder, because these individuals have killed and are ready to kill again. That's a state of necessity. Beyond that, of these legislative evolutions, it's the security forces which needs the guidelines need to be reinforced, and we need to adapt our law to the state of the threat. These war warriors who are used to killing, even though they get killed themselves, because they're trained abroad, notably by the Daesh group. That organization is commanding, not only in France, terrorist crimes, those which we've known here. That's why I've said that we are at war. Also, a number of criminal networks who often have heavy weaponry to carry out their acts. So against such enemies, it's essential that each service, police, gendarmes, intelligence, military, work in cooperation with each other, with transparency, and to put forward all information that they have at their disposal. We must also mobilize in this, within this security policy, all those in the private sector and also the local authorities, transport companies, all must be coordinated, put to the service of the same objective, security, the security of our compatriots. If we want to win the battle against terrorism, and we will, we mustn't lead it alone. It needs the cooperation. We need to do it with our European partners. For the last year, France has taken a number of initiatives. Often it's battles alone, but all the capitals now are aware of the danger. A directive creating the passenger lists, air passenger lists, will be definitively adopted by the European Parliament at the end of this month. The Schengen Code will be reformed to proceed to systematic checks on European nationals. And France has obtained the creation of a European agency to survey our external borders. It's necessary, including to assure the asylum rules in good conditions. This is not just about preventing terrorism. You do this in all manners: police, gendarmes, fire officers. You undertake your duties each day, accepting that in your path there will be violence, danger, sometimes in extreme forms, I know. Several of these police, gendarmes, fire officers have died in carrying out their duty. I want to salute them, pay tribute to them. Laurent Pruvot, who was killed as he was trying to pursue those who died, including in a family. Philippe Allemand, who had a fatal accident. Philippe Vautrin, who was struck by a car. Samuel Gallet, who died following a domestic dispute. He had been injured in investigating that. Christophe Buissou, municipal policeman, who chased an individual, Pascal Robinson, in Marseille, who died as he investigated an arms trafficker. Florian Dumont died as he was trying to put out a fire at Ivry with his brigade of fire officers, Paris fire officers. Patricia Philippi, who died as she tried to put out a forest fire Another volunteer he mentioned, Sylvain Brochard, they died in the same conditions in New Caledonia. I mentioned all those tragedies because French people need to understand the danger of the jobs that you carry out to chase juveniles, offenders who intervene in domestic disputes, assure our road safety. Your activities demand respect. I will never accept that a police officer, a gendarme, a fire officer should be which should be challenged in the exercise of their mission, should be attacked. These acts of delinquency constitute a threat to the Republic, an attack on the Republic, and that's why those who carry them out must know that they will be relentlessly hunted down and arrested and punished as needs be. Against the threats which weigh against our country, it's not just about terrorism, even if today that's what we have to highlight as our principal threat, principal challenge. Against these threats, three principles. That of being firm against those, whether they're French or foreigners who attack the Republic. Principle of reacting against danger which can rise up and which needs us our sang-froid, our calm, and respect of the law. Finally, a principle of unity. That's most essential and the most difficult to preserve when the threats seem to multiply. We must bring everyone together in the face of these challenges. We are France. This country, as General de Gaulle said, so much in pain as well as in glory, must face up to the threats at home and abroad. That's what we're doing today. We are the Republic. This promise made to each citizen to be able to live freely, whatever their origins, their religion, the color of their skin, their opinions, their beliefs, free like a French person, sure of what he's inherited from previous generations, certain about what he wants to do with his life, and of their lives with others. We are a state, we have who have this responsibility, which assures to each citizen the security to which he has the right and the freedom, which is the most sacred. Police officers, gendarmes, emergency and fire officers, and civil servants here represented. I assure you of putting in practice of these principles with the magistrates whose independence is a guarantee of democracy, because a lawful state is not a weakness but a force. Over the years which have gone by, one terrible, tragic year, we have found strength in the depths of ourselves. The tragedy which has marked us, which has really bowled us over, has touched you personally and professionally. But this tragedy, these dramas, these challenges, these ordeals have made us even more resolute to defend our home country and its values. The tears which say a lot about our capacity to bring together. The French have come together proud to belong to the same heritage. to remain open towards others, to knowing how to protect ourselves without turning in on ourselves, to defend ourselves and define ourselves without excluding others. Police, gendarmes, fire and emergency officers, you serve France to allow it in all circumstances to remain a nation, a proud nation, free and with solidarity, and which will remain upright because that's its history, but it's also its destiny. Such was the sense of the message of esteem and confidence that I wanted to bring you today in this courtyard, and to support you, and this message of solidarity with faith to the sacrifice of your comrades, whose memory we pay tribute to today. Long live the Republic, long live France.